I'm Cormac O'Reilly, and I've just finished a project at the wharf putting shutters on my house. It's a townhouse. It's 2,300 square feet, and what I've opted to do is go for a mix of roll-down shutters on the windows that are difficult to get at, and shutters that effectively are a series of panels on windows that are easy to get at. So what we're going to try and do is I'm going to talk to you about each type of shutter that we actually opted for, and then I'm going to actually go through with Chris Holman fitting one of those shutters so you can see exactly how easy or difficult it might be. This is the kitchen window from the outside, and as you can see, the roller blinds are made to actually blend in with the colour of the house. And that was one of the things that the Homeowners Association really wanted to do. Okay, just to go through how the shutter works, it's fairly straightforward. There's a kind of winder that comes with them. Typically it's not attached, and the way you attach it is you just actually put it on the little thing, and it's attached fairly firmly. You make a winder of it with the handle, and then you just wind the shutter down. Doesn't take long, very simple, all done from inside. And what you'll see is that when it's fully wound down, the light disappears and it kind of grinds itself to a halt. So that's in place, fully wound down, and that's all you have to do. To wind up, it's exactly the reverse process. You just wind like this, and in a very little time, you can actually pull the shutter up. Okay, and to get the handle off, you just push it in, and it's as simple as that. So what I've done here, I'm on the lower deck of the house, is I've just laid out the external shutters just to give you an idea of what they look like. And in fact, if you look, they're kind of strips of aluminum, and in fact on this particular window, which we're going to show you how the shutter goes on, it's got 4 shutter horizontals. 3 of them are aluminum, and 1 of them is perspex. And if you look at the top and the bottom, they have a series of basically holes that allow you to screw them to the window. And part of the process of having shutters fitted is that they basically put screws alongside the window, and these correspond to the shutters that we're going to fit. The idea is basically these screws stay in the window year round, and you take them out and fit the shutters, putting the screws back in, and at the end you have the shutters up and all of these screws in place. Now, the one thing we haven't done, and that has to be done, is that these screws need to be painted the colour of the window, because frankly they look unsightly, and it's just a question of dabbing some paint on each of the screw heads so they kind of blend in. So the start of the process is to take the screws out that are already in the window frame. And you'll remember that the screws are going to be painted brown, the same colour as the building, so they won't be seen. Okay, Chris, you've already put the first bolt on, or screw on, the lower shutter piece, and you're putting the second one on. And our advice from Reg Spots was that really needs to be fairly loose. So Chris is now doing the second panel, and this one happens to be clear, and that allows light to come into the house when the shutters are up. As you can see, he's he's left the bottom panel loose, and he's just affixing the screws. Now note he's just doing it at sort of hand tightening. Okay, Chris has got 3 of the 4 panels up, and I think we're probably about sort of 4 minutes into this exercise. And he's just putting the last panel in now. A little more tricky this because it's higher, and but there it goes in. And it's interesting to note that the panels actually rest on top of one another. So there goes the last screw in. All that remains now is to put the top screws in, because remember we started with the bottom panel. Tragically, I'd have no hope of doing that without a ladder. Chris doesn't have that. He's not vertically challenged as I am. Using the step ladder, Chris has put in the last screw, and so we're not many minutes into this, and what remains now is just to go through and tighten them up, which we're going to start. I think what would be interesting, Chris, would be to just give your thoughts as you've been giving them about things like the sort of size and the weight, and putting it up and so forth, and what you think about it as a system for other houses in the wharf.
No, from putting these panels up right now, they're relatively easy to deal with. The 4 panels, holding the 4 panels together, were kind of heavy, and when I carried them out to your garage, but dealing with one at a time was relatively easy.
I think the storage was interesting because
the storage is fantastic. You've got all the panels in your garage, Cormac, and it takes up basically no space. It takes up maybe 4 inches in the back by 5 or 6 feet. So the storage is simple. The movement in and out from the garage location to the window, even if it was a little breezy, the panels are relatively small, so the wind won't catch it. And one person can put them up and take them down, but it's much simplified if you have someone helping you.
Now you actually, I think, put wood panels up before, plywood up.
I've put the full plywood panels up, and those are much more difficult to deal with. They're heavier, and they do catch the wind if it's breezy. There's no doubt about that.
And what about storage? Is it about the same with plywood?
Plywood is pretty easy to store. It's going to be a little bit more storage room, but not significantly more.
Mike made the point that when you put plywood up, you almost need to make holes every time you do it.
Well, that's a key benefit of this system, is with the plywood. Every time you put them up, you're either going to be nailing through the plywood into the existing siding and trim, or you're going to be screwing into it, creating new penetrations. Where with this system, you have the fittings installed once, and you just screw them out and screw them in, and you're not damaging, creating new perforations, potential water entry points, etc., like you would continually be doing, putting up and down wooden plywood panels with either nails or screws, because those holes are usually going to go in a different location every time.
Yeah, good. Well, I think we've probably just about covered it. I think maybe you'd want to sum up what the learnings were. I mean, you've already gone through the detail, but for the wharf generally.
Well, generally, my thoughts is that if you have a difficult location to get to, the roll-down shutter is the best option. It's very hard to deal with plywood, and I think it'd be somewhat difficult for one person on a ladder to put these panels up. So the roll-down shutter in the difficult locations and the high locations is probably the best alternative. But these panels are an incredibly affordable and efficient alternative for any window or door openings that are relatively accessible, where one person could actually do it, and it's really simplified with 2 people. It's actually be a good time for 2 people to do it.